Thousands of Haitian migrants who once gathered under the bridge in Del Rio, Texas, are now in the United States. And another massive wave, as many as 400,000, may be coming. Appearing on the CBN News program The Global Lane, former acting Secretary of Homeland Security Chad Wolf explains why.
They're incentivized because of the success of those Haitians in Del Rio getting across and now into American communities. So they see that it can be successful. I think it's the Biden administration's job right now to break up those caravans, and they need to do that by working with Mexican officials and others. But they also need to do that by not only the messaging, but the policies they put in place.
An appeals court recently ruled the Biden administration can continue deporting migrant families trying to cross the U.S.-Mexico border under a COVID-19 pandemic rule. Known as Title 42, the Trump administration issued the order in March 2020 to slow the spread of the virus. Wolf says with tens of thousands more on the way, the U.S. Border Patrol will have insufficient personnel to process the migrants. The federal vaccine mandate may cause many agents to lose their jobs if they don't get vaccinated.
The administration, the Biden administration, certainly has a double standard here that doesn't make a lot of sense to most Americans. You have law enforcement officers that are dealing with these migrants and coming into contact with these migrants every day. The migrants have a choice on whether or not to take the vaccine, but the Border Patrol and law enforcement don't.
And we've seen meth and fentanyl seizures at the border increase dramatically this year. So how concerned are you about gangs trafficking drugs and even humans?
When you have 15,000 folks under that bridge in Del Rio, it takes an immense amount of Border Patrol time and attention to care for and to process those individuals. And that's time that you don't have Border Patrol on the line, on that international border, making sure that you're not only keeping migrants out, but you're keeping illegal narcotics and other contraband out. And so when you have something like Del Rio, it just sucks up all the resources.
Concerns go well beyond the southern border. Many Afghan refugees brought to the U.S. are being vetted after they arrive. And at least 700 reportedly have left their housing at U.S. military bases without completing their processing. Gordon, Terry?
Well, Gary, I got to ask, what are the concerns about waiting until Afghans are here in the U.S. before vetting them?
Well, I think the concern is a security concern. How many of these are Taliban types? Only about 16% of the total Afghans here, the 53,000 that have arrived, are citizens of the United States, residents of the United States, and only 3% actually have those special immigrant visas. So the rest have not been vetted. They have to be vetted. The best way to vet someone is to do a background check in their country. We can't do that because we don't have people on the ground anymore. We don't have an embassy there. So how do you do a thorough background check on many of these people who are just normal Afghans that are wanting to come to the U.S.?
Yeah, one just shakes one's head. Is the same thing happening with the Afghan refugees that's happening with migrants that are coming in through Mexico, that the COVID vaccine is optional for them while it's mandatory for government employees?
Yes, Terry, it's the same for the Afghan refugees. It's voluntary. They do not have to get the vaccine. Now, they're being encouraged to get it, and they have to spend 10 days in quarantine, or they're encouraged to spend 10 days in quarantine when they arrive, but nothing is mandatory for them. And that's what Chad Wolf told me. He felt this was very unfair, that these Border Patrol, these border police and agents that are dealing with them every day, they have to be vaccinated, but the refugees and the Afghan refugees and the immigrants don't have to be. So is that really fair? And then, of course, as we mentioned, some of them may lose their jobs coming up very soon if they don't get vaccinated. How many border police will refuse to get it? We don't know, but that's coming at a time when tens of thousands more are expected to arrive at our southern border.
Well, tell us how Haitians are getting through. It just seems to be, how do they get across, the water? How do they get to that border in Mexico? What's the route into the country?
Well, the 15,000 that were under that bridge in Del Rio, many of them said they came from Colombia, from Argentina, Brazil, Chile. They're coming from South and Central America. So either they fly there or they have been living there. And then the route is through the Darien Gap. We have our contributing correspondent, Chuck Holton. He was just at the Darien Gap, and he said 20,000 Haitians are waiting there to come through. Now, of course, the Colombian and Panamanian governments have an agreement whereby they only allow 600 through but there are many waiting there, and they're ready to come. And the Panamanian government last week said, America, get ready, because we know at least 60,000 are on their way. Other estimates are as many as 400,000 migrants hitting the U.S. border before winter sets in.
I've got to ask this. It seems to me to be an obvious solution. When is the Biden administration going to finally say our borders are closed, we're not going to take any more in, we have to enforce our border, we have to enforce our law? That seems to me to be the easy thing. All of these migrants have gotten the word, if you can make it to the border, the U.S. will let you in. And so that's why we're seeing these waves of migration, is because of the very public policies that the administration has announced. When are they going to wake up? They've got a messaging problem, and we need to change the message.
Well, I don't know that they are going to wake up. Maybe after the midterm elections, if they lose the House and the Senate, they'll wake up. But at this point, it looks like this policy is continuing. And because there is money at stake, a lot of money is being made on these immigrants. We have a job shortage, and they're filling the gap there.
All right. Well, you can always get the latest news and more by downloading the CBN News app. Hello, I'm Gordon Robertson. Thanks for watching the video. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more encouraging videos like this one. Welcome to the 700 Club Interactive family, and God bless you.